wants to do everything myself and get it done right. And if you can do it better than me, you can actually shove me out of the way. But if you can't, well, I'm not moving. But as far as engaging the community, I think he covered all of the points really well, and we may just, add some examples to it and perhaps re-emphasize certain areas. I think the number one thing with any relationship is give and take. And I know he mentioned that. What is in it for both sides? Even when you rescue an animal, what's in it for you, what's in it for them? Any relationship has a what's in it. And so, especially in communities like the one that I'm in, that really is pretty hostile to animal rights. PETA is a 4-letter word. The reality is that how do you engage people that are hunters and fishermen and all of the things we're wishing they weren't? How do you engage them and involve them in what you're doing? Well, first of all, you treat them like you want to be treated, like you would treat an animal that's in trouble, because the truth is, I'm not trying to be condescending because I'm not any better than they are. But if I can see them for what they want in life, and I can see what their needs are and be compassionate towards them, then I can reach out to them and in ways help them. There's a woman that lives up the road from me who, she and her husband have been two of the most helpful people in the whole world. And they do a lot of things that you and I don't like. Lots of them. But the reality is I can call them up and say, I've got a fence broken. Will you come down and help me mend the fence? And they'll come down. Or, there's a dog up the road and I can't catch it. If it comes to your house, will you catch it? I mean, it's a matter of respect. And when you respect other people, they're much more likely to think you're okay and you're safer to engage with. In our area, if I want to find out what I can do to better what we're doing at the sanctuary or so forth, well, you find out what kind of community activities are going on, and we all probably know this. Like, obviously, if there's a street fair, you want to be there and let people know that you're around. I don't have time to do that. I absolutely do not have time to do that. I don't have the staff for it, and I don't have the volunteers for it. So I communicate through the newspaper. If I see a letter to the editor, I'll write a response to it, even if it doesn't have anything to do with our sanctuary, but just to let people know I'm there and that I'm part of their community too, especially since I don't have a Southern accent. I've been there 16 years, but I'm still not considered a Southerner. My mother was born in Mississippi, I was born in Louisiana, but I was raised in California. And I did a lot of my growing up in my 3 years in Iran. But the truth is, wherever you are, to engage people, you have to care about them too. Now, one thing that I have found, most hunters think animal research is about the vilest thing they've ever heard of. They think it is absolutely vile. So I have to educate them that when they're culling the dogs that don't hunt, they don't take them to Ripley and sell them to the lab trucks, right? It's a process of educating them that when they take their dogs to Ripley, it may not be another hunter who's just stupid enough to buy the dog that doesn't hunt. There are predators up there with what we call serum trucks who buy lots, and hounds are one of the most frequently seen dogs in laboratories. When it comes to law enforcement, which we're going to talk about later this afternoon, and engaging, most of my engaging in the community is on the more serious levels of prosecuting attorneys and law enforcement and such. But when you go to the grocery store, you kind of talk to people and, you let somebody go in line before you. Eventually people go, wow, that person's not too bad. What they're doing isn't too bad. And just recently we had a man, probably about 12 years ago, he wrote the most nasty editorial in our local newspaper. He is a guest editorial person, what the term for it is. Anyway, he had read about a vegetarian in Jackson She was in the Clarion Ledger, and she was inviting people to become vegetarian. Nothing harsh about it. How threatening could that be in Mississippi for one vegetarian and a million people to stand up and say, I'm a vegetarian? He was so struck by it that he wrote that he went out, killed a deer, brought it to his garage, hung it up, slit it open. I mean, he went through the whole thing. And you know, anybody that read that said, this is not an okay guy. There's something wrong with this guy. You know, he's not ticking right. Not too long ago, he wrote a letter saying he doesn't shake hands with people, and he's really glad he doesn't because the swine flu is going around, and it's just one more reason not to shake hands. Well, we got in the newspaper an article saying we needed money. Well, he was one of the 2 people that wrote really nasty comments about, that gal Stanley, she's always begging for money. Yeah, I'm driving around in Cali, you know? Do you know that shortly after that, I mean, I wrote a response, I was polite, and I said, you know, I told somebody before you start telling me what I should be doing for people, maybe you better follow me around for a while, because maybe you can't match what I do for people too. About a week later, I get a call from the vet. This guy wants to know if I can take some dogs that he rescued. Wow. He gave me $500. I told him, I'm not asking you for money. I'm going to help the dogs. He gave us the $500. 2 weeks ago, on Saturday, he came out with a little American Bulldog puppy he found out in the woods that was in the worst shape you can imagine. He came back a week later to check on the pup, and he was amazed at what excellent condition this dog was in only a week. This guy is now looking for a site for us, and he has a lot of money and a lot of property for a low-cost spay and neuter breeding. You know? People out there are amazing. You never know who they are. You never know when you're going to run into them again. I was in Iran. I was walking up the steps to some building, and a guy I dated in the United States was walking up the steps next to me. This is a very small world. You have to engage. You know what? I lived in Iran. I've lived in other countries. The people over there, they bleed like we do. We bleed like they do. The only thing we all have to overcome is fear. Fear of engagement. We're afraid somebody's going to hurt our feelings. We're afraid somebody's not going to like us. Give them a chance. There are some awesome people under some of those gnarly dispositions. And I really get along with the gnarly people. Thank you.